Good afternoon, Mark Draper. I think I'm number 14 on your list.
Thank you.
I have two properties subject to this proposed increase. I have a vacant lot and a single-family residence. As many of you know, I'm a lawyer, so I'm going to pick on the legal aspects of what I see, specifically the procedural notice that we received. So let me pick the first one. And first of all, I'd also like to thank Commissioner Taseo's office. They sent me the standard of cover survey after I wrote my written objection, which you should have on file to this proposed increase. It was forwarded to me by his office, and I certainly appreciate that. Let me read to you the first one I have, which addresses my vacant lot. And so I've got two different hearing notices with two different purposes for this assessment, which I find interesting and I find contradictory and problematic. This one says that the purpose of this increased assessment, which is, when we look at it, $39 million they're asking for, says fire risks have changed due to climate, urbanization, and vegetation shifts. Now, I was outside, and it's pretty much chaotic in the hallway, and so I was unable to hear Chief Fair's presentation, which I'm sure was very good and thorough. So I don't know if he addressed what the vegetation shifts are that are occurring out there that is causing the need to increase our fire assessment. It says fire departments must adapt by investing in more resources, equipment, and personnel to effectively combat these growing dangers. The standard of cover study didn't speak to that at all. My second one, which is for the single-family residence, did specifically say a recent standard of cover study informed increased resource allocations and streamlined procedures to minimize fire and disaster impact, improving emergency service delivery through improved infrastructure, equipment, and fire prevention measures. So I looked at the recommendations and observations from the standard of cover survey that I got. This was the one I received, just so everyone can see. I assume that's the one that you all saw. But that's the one I received. And in it, nowhere did I see it state that through the delivery of improved infrastructure, equipment, and fire prevention measures. It talks about they can improve response time through more closely aligned best practices. They could coordinate better with the 911 operators. They're encouraged to utilize the proposed system of measures to improve ongoing performance. Then it concludes with, overall, the department is operating effectively and there's no systematic duplication of efforts or services. It does recommend an increase the number of fire stations. It does that they continue with what I think has already been a plan, which I assume, if it's the plan is already existing to construct the fire stations, the budget for that would already be approved and in process. And so, from my observation and my review of the standard of cover study that they cite as the purpose behind this increased assessment, there doesn't appear any of the reasons there to support the increased assessment. They say they can do a better job of what they're doing, but it doesn't say that they need all the additional things they're talking about. And I assume, like I said, this is an assumption that the fire stations are already in their budget. Let me conclude by saying that I went to a website, openpayrolls.com, which I think has been used before, and it was interesting in that it reveals to me that 8 of the top 10 highest paid public employees of Charlotte County are in the Charlotte County Fire and Rescue Department. 19 of the top 25 highest paid employees are in the Charlotte County Fire and Rescue Department, and 66 of the overall top 100 paid public employees of Charlotte County are in the Charlotte County Fire and Rescue Department. If you contrast Lee County at the same website, only 3 employees of their fire department appear in the top 25 paid employees of Lee County. I believe that their notice is procedurally defective and insufficient, and I believe that you should vote against the increased assessment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.